Hello, welcome to Beyond Movies. I'm Kyle, that's Callum.
I'm Callum.
Yeah, and today we have decided to do something a little different to round off the year. We're talking about our favourite top 10 movies of this year.
Now notice he said favourite. He didn't say the top 10 best movies of the year. These are just films that we've really enjoyed this year. So that's what our list is going to be. We've got some acknowledgement on this list of we get further down, it's like, look, we know this film's better than that one. I enjoyed
In a critical sense,
I think,
yeah.
But we enjoyed this one more. So before anyone pounces on us.
Yeah, well, I don't care. I mean, our opinion's right, because you're wrong.
Yes, we are right. So, number 10 is Alien Romulus. Now, I had to fight to get this on this list because Kyle didn't like it so much, but we got it there. And look, the things I love about this film is, to me, it takes all of what Alien was, and even from stuff like Prometheus, it takes bits from that and makes this a fucking fan-loving, beautiful film. It's got it all. Every bit of Alien in this film is in it. And amazing performances as well from Kaylee Spenny, who played our lead. But there's one person I wanted to mention. It was the person who played Andy. Spoilers. The android. Andy the android. Anthony Johnson. He was fantastic in this. He just stood out above everything else in this film. So that's why I feel like it's deserving of 10 on our list. Now, what did you enjoy about this?
So for me, I enjoyed the film, and I liked that it sort of took little bits out of other movies as well, and especially, again, spoilers, towards the ending of the film.
It got weird.
With the creature.
It got weird.
The alien, the new type of alien.
Did you know that was someone in prosthetics?
Yes, it was a basketball player, yeah. The alien almost reminisced what happened in, I think it was Alien Resurrection. There was a really creepy, slimy-esque looking alien. I'm going to probably put that on screen there. There was a lot of love in this film, and I completely agree with you on that aspect, especially Andy the android. He's one of my favourite characters in the Alien franchise now. I don't know, there were just a lot of illogical things that were going on. The kills weren't all that noticeable for an Alien film, especially.
That's one thing I agree with. The kills
very lackluster,
really out.
Visually, it looked great. The tone and the atmosphere was phenomenal. It felt like an Alien film. It sort of pieced together all these little bits, even from the Prometheus era of films, sort of tied it into that as well. I think Freddie Alvarez. Freddie Alvarez. Sorry. But yeah, I think you definitely knocked it out of the park with this one. When you're watching the film, there's a lot of illogical things that happen, especially at the end when she goes down to find the baby alien. It's like, why not just disconnect from that part of the ship anyways, like you do after you encounter the full-grown alien? It's just little things like that.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed it. It was definitely creepy, but we'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
So our number 9 is The Wild Robot. It's kind of different from the rest of the movies in this list as it's an animated film. Watching the trailers, I was really intrigued, especially with the cast of Pedro Pascal. So I went to go see it. Callum, what did you think?
Yes.
Yeah, unfortunately, Callum did not get to see this film, as I didn't invite him.
No, he didn't.
This movie definitely got a lot of heart, and, you know, it was a special little film. I was really hoping it would do well at the box office, which I think it did alright.
Yeah.
And critically as well, it did fantastic. If you haven't seen it, it's a fun, sweet little film about a little robot and this little duck thing, and it's...
Ain't it a fox?
No, so the fox is in the film, and it's one of the characters.
Right.
But the robot looks after a duck in the film. And
But what about the fox?
the fox wants to eat the duck. Sorry, spoilers.
Nature is cruel.
Yeah.
Fox eat duck. It's a fox eat duck world, Kyle.
It is indeed.
And at number 8, we've got Pedro Pascal, again in this list. And I've got a feeling he's going to be in a few things in our list next year as well, because that's just what Pedro Pascal does. He just exists. Gladiator 2 is our number 8. I was quite worried going into this. It's been, 24 years since the first Gladiator movie?
Been a minute.
It's been a minute. For me, Ridley Scott has been very on and off lately in his career. To me, the last truly great film he made was The Martian. So I was thinking, is he going to be able to pull it off? I love Gladiator 2. I think it's definitely his best film he's made since The Martian, and I think it's a very worthy successor to Gladiator 1. I don't think it's nowhere near as good as Gladiator 1, but I think it's a worthy successor to it. I think Martian's a better film, it's just I think it's the best film he's made since The Martian.
Yeah, I mean, he's had a relatively small amount of duds, but yeah, this one definitely picks it up, and I did really enjoy it. I was very excited to see Paul Mescal in this.
Yes.
I seen him in a show a couple of years ago, Normal People. His performance was just top tier in that. Just to see him taking on the big silver screen and putting his acting chops to the work, amazing. And the one thing I will say that I kind of criticise is the ending of the film. Again, spoilers for this. I don't know, I feel like it could have been done a little bit better. It just felt a little anticlimactic in a sense.
Alright, I mean,
just a little bit. I feel like there could have been something more there or something different. It felt a little predictable. It's like...
It felt like they were setting us up for another.
It is and it isn't. It kind of capped off what the first one did with the story. At the same time, it kind of leaves it open going forward.
Let's just say performances all round in this were fantastic. You know, Pedro Pascal, Connie Nielsen, Joseph Quinn, Paul Mescal. But you got all these amazing performances. And then you've got Denzel Washington, who steals every scene he's in. But I always say this, Denzel Washington wouldn't be able to steal every scene he's in if this movie wasn't on the shoulders of Paul Mescal doing his best as the lead. Yeah. It would be worthless if Paul Mescal wasn't there.
Another thing I want to mention is the action was great. There was quite a lot of gore in it. I want to say like a bit of an unusual amount. It just felt very like there was gore at every sort of turn, particularly in the battles and the fights. So, you know, that's appreciative. It's good to see that Hollywood isn't shying away from this sort of thing anymore. But yeah, all in all, it's solid at number 8.
Definitely. Coming in at number 7 is a Netflix film. What the fuck? But I got interested in this film when the casting of the Lantern Show were coming out, and we heard about this Aaron Pierre who's going to be playing Jon Stewart in the Lantern Show, and everyone's like, he's so good in Rebel Ridge. I was like, is that a TV show or something? It was a Netflix film, so I was like, But then I caved. This film's fucking great. And the character that Aaron Pierre plays is so cool, the confidence and everything.
You know, it's a very lengthy film. I think that's probably like one of the only things I'll say I didn't quite like was the length was a bit too much. Other than that, a little bit of action, not much. It's more about the conversations and sort of like the bitter arguments that they have between these characters.
But, you know, like you said, there's not a lot of action in it, but when there is action in it, it's fantastic. Rebel Ridge, number 7. If you haven't watched it because it's a Netflix film, do it. It's pretty fucking good, actually.
I don't know how to do my hands, do you know what I mean?
So at number 6 is a fantastic...
At number 6?
Is a fantastic Bill Skarsgård action film.
Okay.
No, not The Crow.
So at number 6, we've got Boy Kills World. Now, this was quite a surprise, as it kind of came out of nowhere. I didn't really hear much about it. I saw the trailer, it just came out, and it popped up on my feed, and I thought, that looks pretty fun. Obviously starring Bill
and Ben, the flower pot man.
Shut the fuck up.
I'll kill you.
It was a big surprise when I saw the trailer and I seen that, you know, Sam Raimi was involved. I thought, ooh, this could be, you know, him stretching his legs a little bit after Doctor Strange. And did not disappoint. I think this film it's not like the best film in the world, critically speaking, but the action is just non-stop.
And
the humour is just like very much what we're into. It's something weird, it's something wacky, especially when it comes to like the fights and the stunts.
Cheese grater.
Cheese, yes, that's all I'll say. Cheese grater is like the deadliest weapon known to man. Go watch this film if you haven't seen it. Give it a try. It's a load of fun.
Yeah, now look, I really enjoyed Boy Kills World as well. My only criticism with this film is it starts to take itself a little bit too seriously towards the end. But throughout, it's funny, gory, the action's great. The whole inner monologue voice.
The voice actor is the same as Bob's Burgers, which I'm a massive fan of that show. Just hearing his voice appear in a film and in this sort of like genre, I was like, okay, yeah, like, you've got me hooked already, I'm in. The twist felt a little strange, but it was still a cool twist, I think.
Yes.
I just think the execution of it could have been done better.
Bill Skarsgård, who doesn't say a single word in this film, carries it. Obviously, that's him and the voice of the Bob's Burgers guy as well, working together. Yeah, it just fucking works. There's a reason why it's on the list. So go check out Boy Kills World. As we get into our top 5...
Bang.
Explosion. Civil War by Alex Garland. Beautiful film in a weird way. And sort of, it's kind of like a warning as well. You know, it's like, we could be very close to this right now. And it shows you the horror of war, but in a modern setting. And I don't want to say close to home for us, because obviously it's set in the States, but it could very easily be us. You know what I mean? And you see stuff like that. The performances all around. Kaylee Spenny, she's in this, who played the young photographer. She was fantastic. But I think the person who stood out the most is, what's his name? Breaking Bad, Jesse Plemons. With the sunglasses.
Yes. Yeah.
He's in this film for like 7 minutes, maybe.
He seems
And
to
he
always
steals it.
Yeah, I mean, there's a movie that came out a couple of years ago and we actually watched very recently. Game Night. He just steals the show in that film as well. His performance is very gripping and it really leaves you on the edge of your seat.
He's terrifying in this.
Yeah, I don't say that lightly because I hate hearing that. You hear it all the time in like movie quotes, and this was just like, I was like, I don't know what's going to happen here.
The whole core cast work really well together, and it's fantastic.
From the trailers, it seems like there's going to be quite a bit of action, but to be fair, there isn't.
There was more action than I expected, though.
Yeah, I mean, when the action does happen, it's very bold. It feels like the tone of the film shifts. The sound...
Very real.
Yeah, it's very, like, gripping, and again, it leaves you on the edge of your seat.
It seems like you're watching GoPro footage from, like, the war in Iraq or something like that.
The sound was just so impactful. It felt like there was literally tanks rolling into the cinema. It was just very well done in that regard. It's a bit of a journey movie, isn't it? Like they sort of, go across the US.
And everyone learns something about themselves along the way.
Yeah. Okay. Right. I'm going to double check and make sure that is still recording. My balls are so sweaty. So, at number 4. So the 4th film in the Planet of the Apes franchise lands on our 4th spot of our favourite movies of the year.
Hey, that's pretty good.
Yeah, I think I said that right.
We saw 4 times in the cinema.
Yes, we did. With Planet of the Apes, anyways, I was a big fan, especially of the original trilogy, and the way Matt Reeves sort of did the sequel, which was Dawn, and then he did the third one, War, which sort of capped it off. They've rounded this trilogy off so well, and for me, this can be ruined now if they do a 4th one and it doesn't work, or it just doesn't fit what was working. It feels like a generational leap. It feels like it's in the same universe, of course, but it feels so different, but so connected at the same time. As soon as the film started, those sort of worries were slowly fading away. Performances in this, some of the best in the Apes franchise, easily.
Kevin Durant as Proximus Caesar.
Yes, yeah. I could tell in the trailers, especially with Proximus, that this is going to be like a very strangely realistic performance.
People should be getting awards for mocap performances.
100%.
It all comes through.
Yeah, 100%. It pushes the universe forward a little bit in time. We're introduced to some new characters. We've sort of got a new story, a new setting, and it leaves it open for the future. They did that on purpose of like, okay, we're going to tease some things here that can happen in the future. We're going to tease some other things. And it works, and it's left me wanting more. I just hope that the second one can stand on its feet a little bit stronger rather than sort of like, teasing us to what's to come in the future.
Yeah.
I think that's my only criticism of the film.
This film was definitely done with the intent to make more movies after it. There's nothing wrong with that because it worked. Yeah. And worked well. It's a little bit slow at the beginning, I think. But as soon as it finds its feet and gets going, it don't stop.
For me, it's
I think it's a good thing as well, the slow build up, because you need to reintroduce this universe.
I'm going to disagree a little bit. I think the pacing slows down after the first act. I think it's the midway point it does slow down.
Alright, well, I don't agree with you, so I think you should just die.
When it comes to the third act, everything changes. It's not a worldwide thing. This is definitely more of a contained story. You sort of build up through the sequels. I think the stakes will get bigger. The stakes are a little bit lower. It's not impacting the world. But maybe the second one maybe impacts like the region. And then the third one, or the sixth one...
The Apes go to space.
The Apes go to space, and we don't know. We don't know what they're going to do with this. Yes. And number 3 is A Quiet Place. Day 1. In all seriousness, I was really sort of hesitant to go into this film. Of course, you've got Joseph Quinn, who felt like he was pushing his acting boundary a little bit. He was doing something new, something fresh. He kills it.
Yeah. And Lupita Nyong'o, one of the greatest performers on the planet right now. Yeah. So
100%. Going into this film, I was quite hesitant though, because it was a spin-off that had nothing really to do with John Krasinski. Obviously, he directed the first 2. This was sort of his creation. Yeah, I didn't know how I felt with someone else taking the reins on this. It's taking a new creative on board, And it works, man. I need to stop doubting these sort of alternative and spin-offs. It's just because I feel like every time we get a spin-off now and then, more times than not, they are pretty bad. But with this, it's so sweet, man. It's such a beautiful, again, contained story. Not much in the way of sort of like multiple, cast members in this. It's very limited to the two on screen. Creatures, though, I mean, you see them in an urban environment, it changes the game a little bit here, and especially with it being the day one of the invasion, I guess.
And the thing about this film is they don't actually make it a survival film. There's survival elements and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But the core of this film is to give one person one last good day.
Yeah.
And when that comes to fruition, it's beautiful. There's a lot of reasons why a lot of people can resonate with this film. I think this is definitely held up by the performances.
Yeah.
More than the spectacle.
Yeah.
But I did really like the final act of the film. And I like it all, but especially that final act. I don't want to spoil it, but with the tensions there and, just as something as simple as that will get you killed in that world. Yeah. That's what makes it so scary.
Yeah.
So at number 2 is the second
No,
film.
no. Married my boss.
Coming in at number 2, we're getting close now, ladies and gentlemen, is Dune Part 2.
We're on a bit of a roll here.
We are on a bit of a roll.
Yeah.
2 for 2, 3 for 3, 4 for 4. Because we're creative like that. No, but on all seriousness, Dune Part 2, I think on a technical level, the best film of the year. It's not my favourite film of the year though. But it's still my second favourite film of the year. Because everything in this, directing, performances, the visual effects, is all 10 out of 10. Timothée Chalamet needs to get nominated for an Oscar for this. Especially going into that third act. It is just performance after performance after performance. It's fantastic. Austin Butler needs to get nominated for this. Denis Villeneuve needs to get nominated for Best Director.
I know he's done movies before, obviously Prisoners. Again, a phenomenal film he directed. But then as soon as he sort of dipped his toes into the sci-fi genre, he's just been killing it, man. You got Blade Runner, Arrival, the first Dune, now Part 2.
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of people that are like turned off by the whole Part 1, Part 2 thing.
I tell people not to do that. I say just literally go in and just watch it all as one film.
Yeah, just watch both at the same time. That being said, it does very much feel, the first one feels a little bit more politics, very much Game of Thrones in space. But then the second one, it just takes it to the roots of Arrakis.
Look at it like this as well. Think about all the great cast members we lost from the first one. Mm-hmm. But then again, look at the cast for Part 2 as well. And it's still just as good. Yeah. Maybe even better. I'm assuming people have already seen this because it did make quite a bit of money as well.
I remember I was at a restaurant, someone was saying a quote from the second film. We'd say it a lot.
Listen, Al-Gaib.
Yeah.
Listen, Al-Gaib.
Yeah. It's definitely, plenty of people have seen it.
And now I'm just excited for Messiah and what's to come with that, because I've got a feeling it's going to be perfect, because to me, this film was perfect.
Yeah.
The score, the visual effects. Just when he gets off his worm and he's walking towards all the Fremen with the worm behind him, and it's just like, what the fuck, this is amazing.
Yeah. A lot of powerful scenes.
Yes.
A lot of great action. Yeah.
And Paul Atreides is a great guy. He's the best guy. He makes such a good guy. Mm-hmm. He is the best good guy out of all good guys, cinema good guys. Right, guys, before we get to number 1, we're going to do a few honourable mentions. Films that we enjoyed, but they didn't quite make our list. So, Furiosa. I really enjoyed it. I know you didn't like it as much as I did.
I love Fury Road, the previous one, but this just felt a bit drawn out. It felt a little unnecessary at times. I love the Furiosa character, and I was excited to see more of her and see sort of like the action that they could do in this film, especially with like the technology that they've updated.
Yeah.
But it feels like they went backwards, and some of the effects were just terrible. Like,
I feel like if this were just my list, Furiosa would have probably made it on there. Fall Guy is another one. Ryan Gosling, Emily Blunt. The chemistry in this between them two works really well. And I'm actually quite shocked that this isn't near the top of my list. This is a David Leitch film, and 2022, my favourite film of the year was Bullet Train. Fall Guy didn't quite make it, but I love the film. But it didn't quite make it on this list.
It definitely felt like it was a great homage to sort of like stunt actors and things, and like I was really hoping that the stunts would be, I don't know, just a little bit more creative in that sense. And I was kind of hoping some of the stunts would be a little bit more creative. Not to say that they weren't impressive. Kind of felt wanting more. The story was alright. Ryan Gosling does a great job alongside Emily Blunt. Like you say, the chemistry is there. Something missing from it. And I couldn't quite add it to my top 10 for this year.
Another one, Monkey Man. I was really looking forward to it. It's a fun film. All I'd say is just check it out. It's quite long as well.
Yeah, that's one of the things I was kind of...
It felt long.
Yeah, it was just sort of not dragged out. It just kept going and going and going. And, you know, the action was all right. It was, again, quite gory. But, yeah, just, I don't know, something about it. Hoping it would sort of, like, blow me away with what it does. But it was quite muddled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, our final honourable mention. Hellboy, the Crooked Man. Now, look, I feel like I'm going to get a lot of shit for this one. I really enjoyed it. And it showed me this is how Hellboy should definitely be done.
Yeah.
In the future. It's a step in the right direction for Hellboy, I think, because I think people need to let go of the Ron Perlman era. You know, I'm not saying don't watch them films and don't enjoy them. I watch them and enjoy them all the time. They're great, but we're never getting them again. Jack Hesse was great as Hellboy. The script wasn't that great, but the premise, I liked the premise. I've read the comic when I knew they were doing this, and the comic's great.
For me, it was just a case of, like, they stripped out all that superhero-esque, you know,
and made him a paranormal detective, which is what he's supposed to be.
And the whole vibe of the film, like, yeah, despite some of the characters being a bit strange and sort of like you know, it didn't really click with me. It was creepy, but not creepy as like, oh, I'm going to get a jump scare. It was just eerie and not nice. Like, I don't want to see.
But then you get lines in the film like, okay, Snake, let's rattle.
Yes, they do. The Crooked Man himself, I think, they showed him way too much, and he kept doing this sort of weird head jitter thing, and it just looked very cheap and cheesy. And yes, this film didn't have a great budget. Yeah, I mean, the spider at the start of the film. Spider.
Let's go down to Spider Island.
Oh Christ!
That's a callback joke.
Yes, it is. The spider at the start of the film was probably like the only bit of action we get, and I feel like that's where a majority of the CGI is.
I'd say we get action throughout, especially in the church.
Yeah.
You know, and then at the house at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's played more to creep you out, this film.
Yeah, 100%. It's not there for the action. I mean, there is that one scene where they go upstairs and
the husk of and the raccoon gets into it.
Yeah, that was very unsettling, but very well done.
Yeah. What? Coming in at number 1
is Deadpool
and Wolverine.
Yeah.
Guys, who would have thought it that Movies and Beyond favourite film of the year would be Deadpool and Wolverine? Because, you know, they haven't fucking shut up speaking about it. What else was it going to be? We'd been looking forward to this film for a long time. Mm-hmm. And it lived up to the hype. It did. It didn't let me down in the slightest. In fact, it exceeded my expectations. That's why it's my favourite film of the year. Everything, I don't want to say the cameos, but the supporting cast in it is great.
Yeah, it did such a great thing of being the third film in the Deadpool franchise, you know, being a sequel to, obviously, the second one.
And a sequel to Logan as well.
And sort of like a sequel-esque to Logan, more of like a spin-off, if you will. Yeah. But at the same time, it was a great sort of, you know, tip in the hat to the X-Men universe and sort of saying goodbye to that. But as well, with some of the cameos that pop up, it's also a goodbye to all the other Fox stuff they did, good or bad. And it was really sweet. It was really nice that they did that. We're getting a lot of gory films. The gore was very much there.
Especially with the opening, they let you know right away. And let me tell you right now, to this day, 6 months later from the film coming out, I still have NSYNC and Madonna stuck in my fucking head.
Yeah.
They ain't going anywhere anytime soon. This is my second favourite MCU film of all time as well. They did a great job with this film. There's a reason why it's number 1. I'm pretty sure it's number 1 to a lot of people as well.
Yeah.
Maybe not. Maybe we're just delusional. Maybe Marvel's paying us.
Deadpool and Wolverine's fucking awesome, so there's not much we can say about that. I mean, the action were great, the comedy were great, the writing, the characters, all of it fantastic. The cameos sort of served a purpose, and that's what you want from a cameo.
Honoured Logan's legacy in the best way possible.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, you could argue he didn't, but at the same time...
I think it was the...
From a movie term...
He honoured Logan's legacy in the most Deadpool way possible.
When we're talking about an actual film, like viewing it as a film, yes, but in universe,
oh no,
definitely not.
Oh yeah, I'd do that to you though. So anyway, guys, let us know what your top 10 favourite films of the year are. Mm-hmm. We're going to say favourite, I'm not going to say best, because if it were top 10 best films of the year, everyone would have to put Dune Part 2 as number 1. So let us know down below. What do you think of the rebrand as well for all the real ones who got here?
Yes, we are now Beyond Movies instead of Movies and Beyond.
Skiddity bip.
I'm I'm going to just cut it there. Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
That's a cut. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching. Me and Kyle are engaged. And then right again at end of video. Because then that's a domestic abuse joke.
Fucking hell.